If you're tired of inconsistent trades and missed opportunities, this is the video you need to watch until the end. I'm going to show you how to fix your entries, manage risk like a pro, and execute flawlessly so you can finally trade with confidence. Let's talk about what we've actually covered so far in this playlist. The first video we went through was about market structure, and we were looking at those correct structure breaks that potentially you was getting wrong. And remember, we always looked at that bigger picture when using your structures. One of the main things you were doing as well was trying to force those trend lines which can act as liquidity areas and stop trading against those structure breaks. So that was market structure. We then looked at the next concept, which was supply and demand, and the main common mistakes you were making there. The first thing was actually forcing your supply and demand zones where they aren't actually needed on the chart and ignoring the context and that trend direction. Now, when you put all this together, it was going to stop you as well from creating your supply and demand zones far too wide and narrow, with you either missing the trade or having too big a stop loss to even take that trade in the first place. And finally, we looked at why you were failing to combine your zones with market structure. Once you understand your market structure, your supply and demand zones will fall into place. Then the third video, we looked at imbalances and the common mistakes we were looking at with imbalances. And the first thing was you're blindly looking to buy and sell off an imbalanced zone. Now, we used the concept there of premium and discount pricing areas to allow you to find the best imbalances to trade from. And not applying imbalances with structures was another common mistake many of you are facing. And we also understood that imbalances are in fact liquidity zones in the market. Finally, we went through into our most common mistakes when it comes to taking entries. We looked at potentially where you're entering too early without using a confirmation technique and stop chasing price after the move had already started. We also covered the importance of not ignoring multiple time frame alignment to assist with you when you're looking to take your trades, and obviously to stop overcomplicating your entries with too many indicators trying to give you your entry setup. And finally, we then covered the misplacing of your stop loss during a trade entry, which potentially could make you have more losses in the market, and you wasn't either using the correct risk to reward in your trades. Now we've done that quick recap, let's now look at the 3 pillars of consistent profits. Now this is going to entail understanding when it comes to mastering your entries, your risk management, with that flawless execution. Now the best way for me to demonstrate this is to actually show you a trade that I've taken today on the pound US dollar on a 1 minute time frame, and we'll go through exactly how all of this you can apply what you learned in those previous videos and in this video today to help you with your trade entries. So here we are on the entry time frame of the pound US dollar 1 minute time frame. Now this entry came this morning down here, and we'll go through exactly why I took this entry in a moment. But it's understanding as well that you need good money management when it comes to your risk. You want to be looking for at least a 3-to-1 risk to reward. That means if you're risking £100, you'll be looking to make £300 back. Now this is done to make sure long term you have a good risk and money management in your trading. So you can see this is actually over 6-to-1 risk to reward, which means this is a valid trade entry using risk and money management. Now if we just zoom into where I've taken my entry, as price pull back to this entry zone, I'll go through in this video exactly all why I took this trade. This is my entry on this candlestick. After I've entered into this area of demand on the higher time frame of the 15 minute, on the break of the high of this candle, plus the spread is my entry. And then I'm looking for price to run the week higher here at the 15 minute week high in the market. Now, the first thing you need to understand is structure, then your supply and demand zones, then your imbalances, if you want to use imbalances, and of course those entries. You can see price is coming back up towards my final target. We did pull back, but there's a reason at this point that we are break even and we've got no risk on this trade. And there was a great opportunity to take some profit at this swing high. So I'll go through now why we took this trade and how you can do the same in your trading. We start off with a top-down analysis. In this case, we'll start off with a weekly time frame. And we understand here that the market has created this swing high to this swing low. That is my trading range. We have a break of structure to downside. We've left over an area here of potential supply where we could find price want to come back to, okay, at some point. So we could look for price to potentially want to come back to that supply before running that week low. That is the weekly time frame. We have a bearish bias. Now we're not trading off the weekly here, obviously we're trading a 1 minute time frame. Let's go down to the next time frame, which is a daily. Now the same thing we can see on a daily. Just gonna make drawing to it. We broke structure here to downside. This becomes my swing high to my low of my trading range. We've pulled back into this area of daily internal supply. So when price comes back here, we can expect price potentially want to turn and could run for the week low. We may never come back to this area of weekly supply. Now, when we move to the next time frame, which is our 4-hour time frame, you're going to start to see where price has shifted again. So we went bullish into the area of supply here on the daily, shifted out to the downside with a break of structure. So we were bullish, now we've gone bearish, leaving this area here of supply where we can look for price to pull back to. So this is a break of structure. Once we see a break of structure, we could potentially see a pullback in the market. Now, all of this you can learn in much more detail within the 90-day profit trading system. Now, you can learn more on that. It's coming up in a moment. And so when we do see this point, I have a new trading range. So my trading range is from this high to this low. And we have all this gap in the market, which is basically imbalance, a liquidity gap, where we're looking for a price to pull back in. So remember, we look now of where we potentially see price moving to. If we mark this out using what we learned with the areas of discount and premium, we expect price to at least want to pull back above into this area of premium. So it gives us space for the trade to continue to move higher after this break of structure. Now we can go down to the lower time frames here of the 15-minute. This is how we do our top-down analysis. Now the 15-minute was bearish, but now we've just moved bullish. So if I go closer into this 15-minute time frame, this is how you can use precision entry execution when you get this right. So we've gone from a bearish bias to a bullish bias on the 15-minute. Potentially, we're looking for that pullback towards this area of supply on a 4-hour time frame. Once you get your structures right, then you can get your supply and demand zones correct. So this is a good zone. What we have here is we have this full move from this low to this high. This is our full break of structure here. We have leftover area of demand. This is our origin zone of demand. This is a valid zone that we can look for the market to come back to. And we could still see price pull back to this area. We may not even run this high yet. We could see a pullback to run liquidity below this low of this area of demand towards this demand before we see a move higher. We never know which zone is the best zone to trade, but we use what we can in our favor to find a valid zone. So understanding again as well, the full move from high to low, you can see that this lower end of this zone and this zone falls within this area of discount. Now, we also have here the area of supply created on this break to the downside of this structure break. We pull back, we have a reaction, and then we have a break of structure. So this is in fact the demand zone, which is a flip zone, okay, of demand, and it's a sweep zone, which I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment, where we break structure. And that's exactly what we want to be seeing. So this is indeed a valid zone. And we have this small area here where we sweep this previous swing low as well before we break higher. I like to see these sweeps because they give you more liquidity in the market. So we can see we had a run below and a continuation higher. Now we have two zones to look to trade from. And I like to mark my zones as a pivot zone from this previous candle and this one where we see the move away. Now, once price comes back, this is where we understand the confirmation. On the last video you've watched in this playlist, you understood about the importance of the confirmation. Now, we also have here liquidity below this low on this full swing pullback. We don't have any liquidity in this move up, so we need to see that liquidity created on a lower time frame. This is where it comes into our entry time frame on the 1 minute. And we can see where prices pushed down. We created this area of liquidity because the market reversed structure here, started to go higher, and then it ran the liquidity at this low. And then pushed down into, okay, this area of demand being my 15-minute zone. Now, once we run down here, this is where I've caught that entry we went through earlier on the break of the high of this candle plus the spread. Now, there is a reason why we look to take this entry like this, and more of that you can learn when you join the 90-day profit trading system. We have this fractal reversal area here, which we also had one here. That's going to potentially left an area of demand as well on the lower time frame. So how do we eliminate risk? Well, on this trade, once we saw this second break of structure, is where I've gone to break even on the trade, and I'm risk free on this trade. Now, we also had a potential first target right at this high where we can take some profit. So that's where we've taken some partials at this high to protect my account. I've taken some profit off the trade at this high and then let the rest run for this swing high. That is using good money and risk management. Remember, we're looking for over 3-to-1 risk to reward on all trades, and we're looking for potential good targets to take partials. Now, this entry criteria is one of the entries that I use in my trading, and you can see how this entry is working out very well on this 1 minute entry time frame. So that is how you can combine everything in what you've learned so far in this playlist to start looking to take trades like this. Rather than just telling you about what's possible, I want to show you. Here's how the 90-day profit trading system has already transformed traders just like you. Hey traders, we'll get back to the video in just a second. But if you're over 50 and serious about achieving financial freedom before retirement, listen up. One of my students, Danny, had lost nearly 300,000 trading on his own. After joining our 90-day profit trading system, he's made back over a quarter of those losses using the mechanical strategy we teach, and he's just getting started. This program is designed for traders like you, 50 and over, who are ready to finally trade profitably. With limited spaces available, you'll get personalized support and lifetime access to our community. If you're serious, click the link in the description below to secure your spot today. Let's get you on the path to financial freedom. All right, let's get back to the video. Now, if you are interested in joining up to that 90-day profit trading system, spots are limited, and currently there is a wait list now to join up. If you are interested, check the link below right now. Click that link, that'll take you through to be able to join the wait list. As we can see on this trade, we've just hit that full target, okay, on this 1 minute trade today. You can see exactly how you can do this and more once you join up to the 90-day profit trading system.